If you're buying a fillet at the supermarket, what do you look for in a fillet that will tell you it's a good quality fresh fish?
Well, first of all, we want to make sure that it doesn't smell. It should be very fresh, which both of these are.
Yeah, they do.
really don't.
Yeah.
There's no odor. The meat is moist, okay, which is very...
It's my stomach.
Yeah. Do you want to go out? The first thing that you want to look for in the fish fillet is the vibrancy of the color. A white fish should be more translucent. If it's turning very white or chalky looking, that's an older fish. In a darker fish, such as tuna or salmon, the color should be vibrant. When it starts turning into more of a brownish hue to it, that's old. The flesh should be moist, but not slimy. And it should also be, again, resilient to the touch. There should be no visible cracks in the fish because that's a sign that it's drying out and old. So these are both beautiful. We've got a nice piece of wild Alaskan cod. This is what they call the tenderloin. And I've got a sockeye salmon here, Alaskan also, that's just gorgeous.
Obviously, Trish, I like to catch my own wild. I know it's the freshest that way. What are other reasons why someone would want to make sure that what they're getting at the store is wild caught?
Well, there's a lot of farm-raised fish right now, and from everything that I'm reading, these fish are contained in smaller environments where they're all living and, well, they're living and pooping, and I just don't think that the waters are that clean, and they're not eating what they would naturally. They're being fed particular types of feed. The salmon have things in them with dyes in them so that their flesh turns the pinkish or orangish color in this instance, and a lot of the fish comes from Indonesia, India, and places where I don't know how they're regulated or who's taking care of the farm. So I'm pretty particular about finding wild fish.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
So if you can't catch it yourself, make sure what you're buying
Yeah.
is. And where would you find that? Is it on the labeling, or do you ask for it?
Yes. No, they always, it's very popular right now, and they do have to indicate if it's farm raised.
All right.
So everything will say farm raised, and it's usually in little letters underneath. But I find that if it's wild, wild is in big letters
They
to
let
catch
you know.
catch your attention, because I think it's in great demand.
Yeah.
But these were the only two wild fish that I could find at the store
Wow.
the other day. They had a lot of salmon, but it was all farmed. These were my two choices, although I can't say that I'm unhappy.
They're beautiful.
This cod is a very forgiving fish. It has a little bit of fat in it, and if you leave it in the oven just a little bit longer, it doesn't dry out that quickly. This one, the sockeye salmon, doesn't have, you'll notice that it's very solid in color, where salmon you usually see the little flecks of the fat in between.
Yeah.
So this is a much leaner fish, and so you want to be careful about cooking this one because it will dry out fast.
Oh, that's
However,
good to know. Didn't know
a
that.
salmon is a fish that it's okay to serve a little underdone, like medium to medium rare.
Like the sushi guys do, right?
Yeah, well, that's raw. That's raw, and that's fine. It tastes good. Whitefish, you must cook all the way through. It should flake all the way through. Otherwise, the connective tissue in between doesn't soften, so it's a little chewy. It just doesn't have a good texture. So white fishes always need to be cooked thoroughly.